Hello there, grade 5. Okay, for today we are going to learn how to add and subtract fractions. Okay, so this is actually basic, but for this session we are going to do the LCD process. What do you mean by LCD? Least common denominator. Okay, because before when we add and subtract fractions, we just do the shortcut, which is actually okay. But it's still better for us to do the least common denominator process para mas maintindihan, especially when you reach higher grades, no? Kasi baka sa algebra meron din yan. Then you don't know the entire process on what to do. Okay. So for example, 1 over 3 plus 2 over... Wait lang. Kailangan pala natin muna mag-start with the similar fractions just to... Okay, balik tayo dyan. There are two ways kasi similar fractions. Similar fractions are the easiest to deal with. Okay. What do you mean by similar fractions? When their denominators are the same. So let's say 3 over 7 plus 1 over 7. When their denominators are the same. Once their denominators are the same, all you have to do is just to copy the denominator. And what do you do? Depends on the given operation. All you have to do here is just to add our numerators, which is 3 and 1, which will give you 4. Okay, another example. Let's say we have 4 over 11 plus 2 over 11. Okay. Again, if you notice that our denominators are the same, so you just copy our denominator, and depending on the operation involved, addition or subtraction. Again, this only works for addition and subtraction. So since it says add, so that's 4 plus 2, which will give you 6. Okay, now what if you will experience this similar? Adding another S, sorry. The similar fractions. Ang ibig sabihin yan, dissimilar fractions, when our denominators are the same. So in this case, this is when LCD needs to step in. Okay? Least common denominator. Klaro yan, okay? Least common denominator. Okay? So for example, we have 1 over 4 plus 1 over 3. How do we get our least common denominator? Since earlier, if you notice, similar fractions, we just copy our denominators, right? 7, 7, it becomes 7. 11, 11, it becomes 11. Put them together, it's 7, 11. Hep, hep, hooray. Okay. No, it was just a joke about the 7, 11. It's a star. Okay. 1 over 4 plus 1 over 3. So you cannot just put 3 and 4 there, or 4 and 3. Hindi pwede. So, all you have to do here, actually may shortcut nga yan, but like what I've said, we're going to do the proper process. Okay, the shortcut is just multiplying it this way, then this way, then this way. Okay. Tinuro ko na yan sa inyo, pero most likely you have forgotten about this na. Doing the LCD process, first you need to take the multiples, the first few multiples of our denominators. We have 3 and 4. What do you mean by multiples? All you have to do, multiples, ha? What do you mean by multiples? The skip count of the numbers. Skip count nyo lang, starting sa the number itself. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. You can stop there. First 6 yan. So sa 4 naman, let's say 4, 8, 12, 16. So actually, it depends. The moment that you'll see a common multiple between them. Okay, in this case, now it becomes the common multiple. What's the first number that you see that are the same? Meron bang kaparehas ang 3 dito? There's none. How about ang 4? There's none. 6, 8, wala. 9? Wala. Pero ang 12, yes. So this is one of the first common multiple of 3 and 4. So since you have their common multiple, all you have to do now is to put 12 there, which means our LCD is 12. Least common multiple, and can also be called as, when dealing with fractions, we call it now as the least common denominator. Okay? The process involved is least common multiple, but now as a fraction, it is now then as the least common denominator. Okay. Now, what do we do with that? Erase natin to sa bottom part para mas makita natin yung process. You only have division and multiplication process involved in these steps, the following steps. Again, as your guide, susulatin ko dito ang division sign at saka ang multiplication sign. Ito ang first. Ito ang second. So, Teacher Mark, what are we going to do now? Okay, take your LCD and divide it to the first denominator. Color-coded tayo para mas ma-follow natin. 12 divided by 4 will give you 3. This 3 now will be multiplied, kasi first man, no? Divide. Second is multiply. The answer now, after dividing 12 divided by 4, it gives you the quotient of 3. This 3, or your answer, will now be multiplied to its numerator. Okay, 3 times 1. Okay, again, 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So, anong gagawin natin ngayon sa 3? That's your answer for your first fraction, and you put it here. Now, second, do the same exact thing, but this time with the second fraction. We have this 12 here. Change color tayo. Do the same thing. Divide it with the second denominator na. The denominator of the second fraction, rather. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Then now you have 4. All you have to do is just to multiply it with the numerator, or with its numerator, rather. Sorry. So 4 times 1 rather is 4. What is our operation involved? We have addition. So plus nyo lang. 3 plus 4 will give you 7 over 12. So it means that 1/4 plus 1/3 will give you 7 over 12. Okay, try natin to do it again. Different fraction naman. 2 over 5 plus 3 over 7. Okay, then again, first things first is to look for your LCD. Okay, yan ang first step natin. First things first is to look for LCD. So let's get our denominators. We have 5 and 7. Get their multiples. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Stop there. Skip count 7, 7, 14, 21, 28. If you notice, we don't see any common denominators yet. So continue counting. Skip counting for 5. We have 30, 35, 40. Then, dito naman, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. Oops, there pa lang, makikita na natin that we already have our first common multiple, which is ang 35. So, we can now say that our LCD is 35. You might tell me, Teacher Mark, it's just the same, oh. It's so easy, 5 times 7 lang. Yes, pero it's not gonna work all the time. Kasi meron kasi, you'll be multiplying bigger numbers. You'll end up with a bigger fraction rather than if you're going to use the LCD process. Okay, I'll show you the next number. I will prove it to you, okay? What's the first thing to do here? Again, is to take the LCD and divide it to the first denominator. Erase lang natin yung mga information sa baba. And this arrow over here, again, divide lang muna natin. 35 divided by 5 will give you 7 multiplied to your numerator. 7 times 2 will give you 14. Doing the same exact thing, but this time to the second denominator. Divide. 35 divided by 7 will give you 5, and multiply it to its numerator, which will give you 15. Operation involved, plus. Okay, ganun lang yan. Adding both will give you 29 over 35. Ganun lang kasimple. Okay? So, and if you notice that our answers are in improper fraction form. Improper fraction, ibig sabihin that the numerator is smaller in terms of value compared to the denominator. Okay. Ngayon, just to tell you or prove you, kasi sabi nyo, Teacher Mark, pwede na naman natin i-times ngayon. No? If you observe nga naman talaga, di ba? If you are going to observe, 5 times 7 will give you 35. 4 times 3 gives you 12. So parang madali lang hanapin, pero no, it's not always that way. We have certain fractions like, let's say, 5 over 6 minus, let's say, 2 over 9. Okay. You might be making a guess now. O, tingnan natin yung guess ninyo. Doing the same process, magmumultiply tayo. Okay. O, baka sabihin nyo, Teacher Mark, maybe it's because of the sign. That's why it will change. Sige, ipa-plus natin. Okay, just to show. Okay. Your initial guess right now, sabihin nyo ngayon that your LCD is 54. Why? Kasi ni-multiply nyo ang 6 times 9. Sige, we will see. Let's take the first few multiples of the given denominators. Okay? Meron tayong 6. That's 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Stop. It's stop from there. 9 naman ngayon. 9, 18. Oops. Oh, what do we have now? See? This is why we need to deal with LCD. Why? Kasi nakikita natin agad there's a difference. Diba? If you multiplied earlier, you will be dealing with bigger numbers na. Well, in this case, you just have 18. So, we can now erase this 54 and place 18 here. 18 is our LCD. This common denominator of 6 and 9 as denominators. Okay. So, anong gagawin natin ngayon? Do the same process, same exact process. First is to take our LCD, divide it to the first denominator. I mean, the denominator of the first fraction, rather. 18 divided by 6 will give you 3. Times 5 will give you 15. Okay, tina-times natin yan. I'm just gonna show this process para mas masanay kayo. Okay, next is 18 divided by 9, which will give you 2. 2 times 2 will give you 4. Operation involved, plus. 15 plus 4 will give you 19 over 18 now. What do you observe with our answer? Okay, we now, if you can observe, we now have an improper fraction where the denominator has a bigger value than our denominator. Okay? Yung numerator natin, which is 19, has a bigger value than our denominator, which is 18. So, this shows an improper fraction. When you have an improper fraction as your answer, you have to change it to a mixed number. How do you change it? All you have to do is just to take the number 19 over 18 is actually expressed as 19 divided by 18. When solving, it's written as 19 divided by 18. How many 18 will fit 19? 1. 1 times 18, 18. Don't say 1. Mali na naman tayo dyan. 19 minus 18, obviously, it's just 1. Okay? So, i-encircle ko lang. Your quotient will be your whole number. Your remainder is your new numerator. And if you observe, yung denominator nyo will still be the same. So which means 19 over 18 is actually equivalent to 1 and 1 over 18. Okay, so that's the basic. Teacher Mark, how about if it's subtraction? The same lang. If it's subtraction, the process is the same. The only difference that you'll experience is this one. Okay, all you have to do is just to subtract. So let's say if this is subtraction right now, which means you have to 15 minus 4. 15 take away 4. Okay, ganun lang yung magiging process niyan. You just need to subtract. So it depends on the sign. Again, this process is only applicable, or this LCD process is only applicable for adding and subtracting. Okay, klaro ba? So please make sure that you're able to get that process. Now, how do we add and subtract mixed numbers? Okay. Add or subtract mixed numbers. There are actually several ways, and I'm gonna do two separate ways for mixed numbers, for addition and subtraction. Focus muna tayo ngayon sa addition. Okay? For addition, all you have to do first, so for example, let's say we have, again, separate ko lang to. I'll just encircle this. For adding mixed numbers, let's say we have 3 and 2/5. I'll give you two examples for this. 2 and 3/8. Okay. So for adding, take note, okay? For adding, all you have to do first is to take your whole numbers. 3 plus 2. Okay, since it's plus. Since plus siya, so magpa-plus tayo. 3 plus 2 will give you 5. And just leave 5 there. Okay, so example lang yan ha. We will leave 5 there. Now, all you have to do is to deal with our fractions. So we have 2 over 5 plus 3 over 8. Doing the process earlier, taking the LCD. Kasi if you notice, what do you notice? They are dissimilar fractions. Hindi parehas ang denominators natin. Okay? Unless if they're the same, so madali lang. Okay? So we have 5 and 8. Skip count. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We have 8, 16, 24, 32. So if you notice, wala pa rin tayong common until now. 40, 48. Continuing 5 as well. 35, 40. Oops. If you notice, we now have the common 40. So we can now say that our denominator here, or least common denominator, or LCD, is 40. So erase natin itong mga information dito para mas madali nating ma-process. Okay. 40 divided by 5. So, same process yan ha. So, please don't forget yung ginawa natin kanina. 50 divided by 5 will give you 8. 8 multiplied to 2 will give you 16. Operation involved, addition. Change color para mas makita lang. 40 divided by 8 will give you 5. 5 times 3 will give you 15. Okay, doing so, we now have 31 over 40. Is that your answer? No. Not yet. Baka nakalimutan nyo. Meron tayong sineparate kanina, ang 5. Okay. All you have to do now is just to put them together. That's 5 plus 31 over 40, which is equivalent to just 5 and 31 over 40. That's it. Ganun lang. Kadali. Okay? Earlier, I said I'm gonna give you two examples. Bakit nga ba two examples lang? just to see the difference. Look at the difference. We have a whole number and a proper fraction. Okay, now I'm gonna give you where we end up having an improper fraction. Okay, let's say we have 3 and 1/2 plus 7 and 2/3. So we have 3 and 1/2 and 7 and 2/3. Then again, getting our whole numbers, 3 plus 7 will give us 10. Separate lang muna natin yan dyan. Taking our fractions, we have 1/2 plus 2/3. Getting our LCD, you have 2 and 3. Skip count, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You have 3, 6, 9. Agad. We already have. Kasi smaller numbers nga, mas madali eh. Smaller numbers. So we have our LCD as 6. Okay. Okay, so since we already have our LCD, we can proceed to the normal process. 6 divided by 2 will give us 3. 3 times 1 will give you just 3. Addition process tayo. 6 divided by 3. Oops, change color para mas makita pala. Sorry. Actually, there's no need for me to change the color, but this is just to be guided para makita nyo lang yung process. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 times 2 will give you 4. Okay, 3 plus 4 will give you 7 over 6. Don't forget about your 10 earlier. Putting them together, we have 10 plus 7 over 6. Or 10 and 7 over 6. But if you notice, kids, that our fraction now is an improper fraction, okay, where the numerator is bigger than the denominator, we do not want that. Again, if our fraction is an improper fraction, what do? We change it to a mixed number. Okay, we have 10 and 7 over 6. So, taking 7 over 6, we have 7 over 6 is written as 7 divided by, or read as 7 divided by 6. Solving it is 7 divided by 6. So that's 1 times 6 will give you 6, 1. Again, your quotient is your whole number. Your remainder is your new numerator. And again, parehas pa rin ang ating denominator, 6. Okay, so we can now safely say that 7 over 6 is 1 and 1 over 6. So, titignan natin to. This will now be changed to 1 and 1 over 6. Ibig sabihin, if you're gonna take 10, so that's 10 plus 1, which is also a whole number. What's 10 plus 1? To give you 11. So, sulatin na natin papunta sa baba. Okay, again, 10 plus 1 will give you 11. What's the fraction? 1 over 6. That's it. That's how you do this when you add mixed numbers. Okay, medyo mahaba yung proseso, but it's okay. Ganun talaga. Once you'll master it, no problem at all. Why do you need to master it? Kasi you'll be using it for the rest of your student life. Dating nyo college, nandyan pa rin yan. Hindi mawawala yan. Okay? For subtracting naman, actually, the same process can be done. Okay? You can actually do the same process. It's just that once you'll have, for example lang, let's say we have fractions, 3 and 2 over 3, minus 2, and 1 over 4. So, there are fractions kasi that this has a bigger value than this one. Okay? I'm not saying that 1/4 is bigger than 2/3. Okay? Because obviously, it's not. There are factors kasi, or there are situations that the second fraction, or the fraction that is in the divisor, has a smaller value than the fraction of the dividend. Okay? Which is, if we're going to do that process kasi, it will complicate everything for you. So for now, we will just stick to one process. And anong process yun? First things first, when subtracting mixed numbers, you have to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. Again, as I was saying, you can do what you did in addition, adding mixed numbers to subtracting mixed numbers. Yes. But the problem is you will encounter mistakes. Okay, so to proceed with the procedure na no, first is to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. So if you notice that we have 3 and 2/3 at saka ang ating 2 and 1/4. Okay. Paano nga ba tayo nag-change ng mixed numbers to improper fraction? First, you take the denominator and then multiply it with the whole number. Okay? 3 times 3, then whatever your answer is, you plus it with the numerator. Okay? Again, 3 times 3 will give you 9, plus 2 will give you 11. What is our denominator? Just copy the denominator, which is 3. Okay, again, 3 times 3 will give you 9, plus 2 is 11. That's where we got 11. So ngayon naman, minus sign. Doing the other fraction, the other mixed number pala, sorry. 4 multiplied to the whole number, which will give you 8. Then plus 1 will give you 9. What is our denominator? 4. So you copy 4. Now we have improper fractions. Okay lang yan. And now we need to proceed with how we subtract fractions. Applying the same rule. It doesn't matter if it's proper or improper. Okay? So all you have to do now is to take our denominators, which is 3 and 4. Skip count na natin. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. For 4, we have 4, 8, 12, 16. So if you notice, meron na tayo kaagad common. 12. So we can now say that our denominator here, or least common denominator, or LCD, is 12. Okay, erase ko lang para mas may area tayo for working. Okay. Doing the same process, parehas na lang, adding subtracting fractions. 12 divided by 3, or our LCD divide it to the denominator of our first fraction, which is 3, which will give us 4 multiplied to 11. Any number that you multiply with 11, dino-double lang natin, especially from 1 to 9. So since it's 4, i-double nyo lang. So that's 44. Next is yung 12 naman. Di-divide natin sa 4, which will give you 3. Multiply to 9. 3 yun, no? 3. Multiply to 9 will give you 27. Taking the sign, we have subtraction. So, ima-minus lang natin yan. Ganun lang kadali. 44 minus 27 lang. So, what's 44 minus 27? Borrow tayo since you cannot take away 7 from 4. So, this will become 3. This will become 14. 14 minus 7 will give you 7. 3 minus 2 will give you 1. Okay. Again, i-rewrite ko lang dito para mas makita nyo. 44 minus 27 over 12. Doing so, 44 minus 27 will give you, ano? give you 17. 17 over 12. That's your answer. But if you notice, again, our answer now is an improper fraction. Once it is an answer, I'm talking about an answer. Once it's already an answer, you have to change it to an improper, a mixed number rather. Sorry. So this is written or read as 17 divided by 12. 17 divided by 12. 17 divided by 12 will give you 1 because there's only one 12 that can fit 17. So 1 times 12 will give you 12. Subtracting 17 and 12 will give you 5. Noting that our quotient is your whole number. Your remainder is your new numerator. And of course, parehas lang ang ating denominator. Which means the answer to 3 and 2/3 minus 2 and 1/4. Final answer is 1 and 5/12. Okay, then again, pwede nyo lang gawin yung sa addition, sa subtraction, but it can complicate things for you. Once the value of the fraction, yung sa second is, ano pa to? Mas malaki compared to the fraction of the first mixed number. Okay, so that's basically it. If you have any more questions and clarifications, kindly message me directly. Okay, so that's it for your math for today.